What is up, homies? It is time for a 2 versus 2. And here in the top left, we've got Raenarill, the Dark Sapphire Terran. He's joined by Honda Pablo. That's SmrtyCakes as our Celadon Terran? No, Emerald Terran. Okay. Noiturne's our Black Zerg in the upper right, and he is locking horns alongside Toyota Miguel, who... is this Neon Carrot? No, it's Vivid Orange. Vivid Orange Terran. All right, so there's definitely some WTFs about the map already. I skipped over some chat messages at the very beginning where they were talking about this map being chaos. This is Bloodstone by the Shambler. There used to be a Crucible right here, and of course people would just build there and then immediately spam out a ridiculous amount of Dracodins and win the game that way. So that was the classic one. Silly map, everybody comment, everybody clowning on the map. Well, listen, if there's one thing I can get behind, it's clowning on Shambler maps. So this is a hit 'em up approved episode of the Cosmonarchy casts. This is also a very old map. So, when they decide to play on older maps as opposed to the newer school 2v2 maps, there must be a reason for it. And we must expect some silly games. With all that being said, thanks for joining us for another Cosmonarchy cast. We, of course, have a wide plethora of gameplay options available to all who decide to play Cosmonarchy. It's a very exciting game, and there's 50 units per race, and we're working on our 4th race, and we have a lot of custom game modes, a lot of single-player and co-op content, and, of course, multiplayer is infinite. So that's a wrap for Toyota Miguel's scout. Raenarill will go ahead and clean him out. Doesn't look like he saw the Ministry getting put down by SmrtyCakes very, very early on. But this is a reasonable strategy, right? If you look at what's happened here, we got a Fulcrum for the map control with the Vultures and, of course, the Scouting. And on the other side for Raenarill, he has his own Fulcrum, but he's also gone Stockade. So he's going to go for the Phalanx, and he's even capping his Ridge to get a little bit more Vespene out of it. Toyota's Miguel. Toyota's Vulture is indeed going to be apprehended by SmrtyCakes here. He'll get 1 mine off. He really shouldn't get more. SmrtyCakes has apparently gone AFK. He's actually going to allow Toyota to scout and perhaps disrupt the construction of that expansion. So that's a big whiff from him. He was probably alt-tabbing, talking to Dino Man. And a big stun off there, so a little bit of economic harassment here. I mean, yeah, Smarty dropped the ball on that one big time. Toyota's got 2 Fulcrums. He's already cleared the Rilla cores from Noiturne, I guess. I don't know. They went down there and died for some reason. Who knows why? And also, wow, that's a Bitty B tile, except it's a Shambler tile. We've got, triple Larvosk and probably a Circuit here at the ramp for Noiturne. He's gone pool heavy. I mean, you get a lot of extra mineral fields, right? You look at the mineral field count here, and we are at 10 mineral fields instead of the usual 7. So there's definitely room to potentially greed on one base for a little bit longer. And generally speaking, the lower base counts aren't going to be too terribly, awful. We have these lower yield, or I guess you could say like lower saturation mineral fields here, where they have less resources in them, plus the 2 ridges. And that's where Toyota has chosen to expand to by using one of the Niduses. Where are those Niduses connected to? Oh, it's right here. Okay. So that's actually something that you probably want to watch out for on this map. I don't think we're going to see any big brain plays with the Niduses. You kind of need to learn the map before you can really figure that out, and I guarantee you this is like the first time any of them have played on this map. Maybe SmrtyCakes has played on it before, and maybe Raenarill in AI games or something ages ago. But like this year, yeah, this is probably the first time this map has seen play. At least casted play. SmrtyCakes is going to go ahead and drop another Ministry. So he's going up to 4 Ministries right now, just making a lot of workers off of 1 Fulcrum. He's kind of counting on Raenarill to defend him. We've got an Anchor coming. We've got multiple Phalanxes coming. One thing that would be really cool if we ended up seeing it between these 2 players here on either team really is basically sending workers to each other's bases to get a little bit of extra value there. Like Toyota could be expanding with treasuries, a little bit less relevant for Zerg who wants the Kager anyway, but could do that. Obviously either one of the Terrans could do that and then send their workers to a joint mining exercise somewhere. Smarty only now saturating that little in-between base. One thing I will say about this map is I do actually appreciate the fact that even though these minerals are really low yield, unfortunately, because of how the diagonals work and how far away they are from the town center. But overall, I like the idea of like picking which one of us gets a base that's kind of like in between in between the base for each other. That's like an interesting thing to think about. We also have these neutral anchors here, so these can't lift off, but you can garrison them with any unit. So any player can garrison them and then take hold of it. We got the Vulture sort of careening around. I won't be pointing out every single Shambler tile I see on this map. This is a little outpost here I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Wait. What? That's a broken tile. That's probably very confusing for the AI, but don't worry. That's not something here. Oh, we missed it, but it looks like there was a drop from Noiturne. I was just being dumbfounded by the map. But there was an attempted Zephyr Core drop from Noiturne. It looks like he only got one out before everything exploded, so that's a little unfortunate. He's got his Laikas out, and his natural has been taken. Nobody's taken the mid base. I wonder why. That's like prime area for Zerg to take. You don't... I think this happens in StarCraft 2. I know it happens in StarCraft 1. When your ally's Zerg player, as a Zerg player, your ally spreads the Kagura somewhere, the creep, you don't get a penalty for that as the ally. So the Terrans can, like, Toyota can build on Noiturne's Kagura is what I'm trying to say. So it's pretty simple in that respect. You don't have to worry about, like, crowding out your opponent's build space or anything. Now, Raenarill has lifted a Ministry, clearly intends to go somewhere with it. Not something that we're immediately seeing turn out anywhere, but he does indeed have the top left cleared. This is a classic situation for Shambler where he's put down this area so you can lift or construct a forward town center over in this location. Probably not very balanced right now because, oh, the Atlas coming for SmrtyCakes. He's going up to tier 2 pretty fast. Not as fast as I thought with how many bases he took and how many Masons he's made, but he actually hasn't lifted these ministries off yet, so that's still forthcoming. But you can use advanced workers to harvest from here, right? So, like, Zerg can build their stuff over here with a flying worker, same for Terran, and then Protoss has artisans, so they don't really care about the town center being there or not. But definitely one of those things that Shambler really was trying to push for back in the day. And so we'll see if that ends up being used in this match. It's been a relatively low action match. You know, both players on the east have mostly just been fortifying. A couple of raids here and there with vultures, but not really much of anything, just a little bit of scouting. And they're allowing SmrtyCakes to do his very greedy style without putting up that much pressure. Since then, he's exploded his fulcrum count. Well, exploded is a strong word, but he's gone from 1 to 4, so that's a pretty good amount. His ministry count now, the two of them that were there to fully saturate the bases, has lifted off. They are going to fly over to greener pastures and to the bottom left. Does this link up anywhere? Oh, wow, this links up to the whole base. Yeah, okay, this is a really hard base to hold then. I guess it only has one ground entrance, but still. Gogog? Go-go-go-gug. The Kagran and Pylon over here to allow you to build Terran, Zerg, and Protoss stuff all in the one location. And Escozy in the future. People were actually asking, like, do Escozy have any terrain restriction? But actually, that is not the case. Escozy can build anywhere that their worker can reach. Just like Terrans. Alright, Vultures are going to come in hot. Nobody garrisoned this anchor, which feels like a little bit of a mistake since Toyota had the ability to. But in some ways, it might have baited Smarty into being a little bit more, you know, lackadaisical. Because he's like, all right, I'll take the anchor. And then he immediately gets bopped. So trading 2 Vultures for 2 Vultures there. Mines being laid forward by Toyota. We love to see that. Some Hurricanes might end up getting picked over here. And we've got Lakes, we've got Quas. You do have to watch out for those ally unsafe splash from the mines where it could stun the Lakes there if Noiturne's not careful. Good burrow there. I don't see any detection for either player right now. Technically, if there's a vestry for Raenarill's stockades, he could go for that. But right now, oh no, the Hurricanes might do some friendly fire. It doesn't look like the Phalanx is going to splash them. But yeah, this looks like a pretty deadly push. There's the Shamans, but they are a little late, right? So the Blackjacks have to come in and try to clean them out, but not before more shots get fired. Now, the Hurricanes will take those shots pretty eagerly as another Lakizalisk comes up. Oh, we've even got a deployed Madrigal. Why not? Taking the initial aggro. This does feel like it's a little bit rough here for our Western team because we got Hydra streaming on in. Where are their reinforcements? We haven't actually seen an escalation of tech from Toyota or from SmrtyCakes. He's got a ton of money, so he definitely could be spending that a little bit better. He could have more production structures. Clutch mine hit from the beginning of the game, or some point recently anyway. And it's a kind of a siege warfare up towards the middle and the top. He's pulling the boys. SmrtyCakes sending a rally of Masons just to delay. Obviously, he has the most workers of the bunch. Oh, unfortunately, though, there's not really much value in those mine hits. And look at that. The deployment comes out. He's got Shamans to heal some of his Phalanxes, keep him a little bit more time, keep him up for a little bit longer. Problem is, he hasn't really been the best targeter there, right? He's been back at home or macroing, or so I hope. We've got Acestus and several Sentinels coming up online for that particular position. Lots of Phalanxes on the high ground. Doesn't look like our Western team is going to be in danger of being pushed in, but it's really what this push represents for our Eastern team. If Noiturne and Toyota can actually push in a little bit further than maybe our Zerg and Terran duo we'll be able to get some value out of just kind of like contesting some of these side bases. You know, we've got the vultures in the lodestones, but that's really a small price to clear, you know, in terms of everything. So yeah, the Sentinels are going to go ahead and finish that just fine. We do have more Lakes coming. Do we have tier 2 for either of the homies over here? It doesn't look like it. Toyota has no tier 2, and Noiturne is the same. Despite some of their considerable bank, Noiturne can drop tier 2 now. We'll see if he does so. But we've seen instead the Daedala coming. SmrtyCakes' strength apparently wasn't a super fast tier 2. It was you know, middling in distance, if you will, in speed. But I will say that his tier 3 is blazingly hot fast. And I didn't just say that because the Harakans were roasting each other on screen. Ooh, that magical caught a stray, but this will be a wrap for those phalanxes. Now, did he unpack all of them? No, he kept his other ones staffed. So I do think that the high ground is a fool's errand to try to push in right now. I think Noiturne and Toyota should set their sights on other satellite bases that are harder to break. You know, you don't want to try to uproot a Terran position. You see all those Sentinels and you think, okay, I'll go elsewhere. Well, no, you see all these phalanxes and you also need to go elsewhere. So their forces are getting splattered. Some of those Zorius a little bit wounded. Love the Riller Okors causing some friendly fire. Something just went down there. Oh yeah, it was a Goliath that died to a Blackjack. Dishonorable. A lot of Hydras just got splattered as well, unfortunately. So, yeah, Noiturne needs to be looking around to see what other change he can affect. You saw Toyota go through this Nidus with his Phalanx, but there's no bases up there, right? This is an area that he could just send like 6 Hydras down and probably clear. Maybe not now that that Sentinel is up, but definitely something he wants to do. I saw the Ovaleth moving in that direction with a Lake is in tow, no less, but it's not going to be quite enough. Now we've got tier 2 coming for somebody. No, maybe not. Oh, tier 2 just finished for Noiturne. That's what it was. So that's helping out a little bit. Noiturne and Toyota continuing to kind of shark around on the enemy's territory. Droleth attempts to move over here, but that's the second one that Raenarill's... No, third one that Raenarill's Maverick will clear. Neutral Azazel. I love the idea. I remember when this was done, but I'm pretty sure these can be decollided or something. Maybe not, but they will benefit from... Oh, yeah, they can, definitely. They will benefit from the aura there, so Toyota's going to use those. Quas are here to try to clear that Maverick. Tier 3 is now complete for our SmrtyCakes, and Tier 2 for Raenarill is coming online. We've got Diadems, Watchdogs. He's just going to go ahead and try to build those endgame static defense. Static offense, perhaps. Droleth ended up getting burrowed over there. Yeah, really, behind all of the pressure that they've exerted, our Eastern team has not expanded massively. I guess Toyota has an okay worker count. He's also depleted those minerals in there, so he's evacuated most of them. But he has not gone for the ridge caps over here, which would be pretty nice for him. He also just hasn't gone for tier 2 yet, as far as I can tell. So, yeah, definitely needs a little bit more Vespene if he's going to scale into the later stages of the game. And these items are coming online. We got nanite assemblies galore. 4 of them? 5 of them starting? Yeah, 5 nanite assemblies. SmrtyCakes going straight for the end game air. See what he can do there. It's definitely a valid rush strategy. And, you know, you're making bactylisks when your opponent's making diadems. There might be a little bit of a confusing situation here. Noiturne is technically tier 2. I saw him make his Spire, but he doesn't have much else. And he's going to need some extras. I can tell you that much. Again, a lot of this is because these satellite bases never got pressured. You know, Toyota and Noiturne could have definitely split their attention to focusing down those extra bases off to the side. And they would have gotten a lot of value for it. Now some Zorius are going to find a bunch of Blackjacks over there that are standing vigil. First diadem shots are clear. I don't think that either player has actually noticed them yet, or maybe they did. Now Toyota will see, and you really can't be doing that, my buddy, my homie. Look at the diadems. They're out. Ooh, Phalanx and a cleric go down, but there's definitely... This is some rough stuff here. Like, I don't know how they're going to do it, but they are finally going after those bases in the corners. At least in the bottom left corner. A big drop from Raenarill has descended. It's Harakan Cyprian at 15 minutes into the game. An interesting comp. One or a couple of Droleths ended up getting burrowed. So I guess they can remake that base later, but that does hurt. Looks like Toyota will actually kill that base, but Blackjacks are being assembled, and they are also dying to the diadem shots. You can see they've been lifted because they're out of range. Minotaurs are coming up. This is a really rough situation here because Toyota's phalanxes are deployed, so he's kind of entrenched. But is he actually going to be killing the right units here? It looks like maybe yes. The Blackjacks haven't closed the distance. I thought maybe SmrtyCakes would end up doing that, but not quite. So that is a wrap there. He's going to go ahead and lift off. Oh no, the diadem shots. All right, so the base is infrastructure will indeed be lifted. We've got all these Bactylisks here. It's a little bit awkward for Toyota to actually move through. We've got Blackjack's protecting Raenarill's base up in the corner as Sentinels are coming online for him since his tier 2 is finished. He's got this Ministry here. I guess he's going to saturate that base with Taluses eventually, although I think only Toyota's made the tech for those. Don't see any quarries for anybody else. And yeah, we're up to, what, 6 nanite assemblies? Yeah, that's a lot. So we are definitely going to see... I guess we only see 2 Minotaurs. Maybe I'm missing where the rest of them are. I'm looking around on the minimap for any... Okay, no, they've come down here to see if they can help out. Honestly, the Minotaur count isn't enormous. The problem is actually killing them. Any number of them is going to be challenging. Toyota only now getting tier 2. We got Nathracors coming out. They will help reduce the armor a little bit, and you can't outrun them. But Minotaurs do pretty well versus Nathracors, because Nathracors have a low HP pool. And, Noiturne you up. He's like trying to navigate his fucking way through the area. And you really can't be doing too much here because of the diadems, right? It looks like they've either been replaced or reset. Yeah, he's added more. He's got so many of them. This is why you don't just let a Terran turtle, that's for sure. A lot of agency was given up by Toyota and Noiturne when they didn't go for those corner bases. I know I've kind of laid into it a little thick when casting this, but that's definitely what feels like potentially a fatal error. There's still technically play because Toyota and Noiturne have time. They have the ability to wait for the inevitable death push and maybe kind of play around the extremists of the range. Oh my god, this diadem shots galore. Some Nathracors are here, but look, dude, you've got almost as many Minotaurs as there are Nathracors, and now there's no Nathracors anymore. So yeah, we're definitely looking at a rough situation here for our homies. This feels to me like one of those situations where how are Noiturne and Toyota going to navigate this position? They don't have tier 3. Toyota now starting tier 3 himself. He never took this base, or if he did, it was destroyed. He's adding more ministries over here. Feels like there's almost no defenses on these extreme bases. Yeah, okay, this one got reestablished. Noiturne doesn't really feel like he's harvesting a lot of Vespene. He says tier 3. Is Toyota only now noticing that his opponent has tier 3? Or is he trying to tell Noiturne to get it? Noiturne doesn't have the Vespene for it, yeah. You can see your allies' resources too, unless Toyota's turned that particular feature off. Diadem lifting off. Quarry has been established, but no Taluses are coming out of it. Now we will see that change. Goliaths have been amassed, but only... You got one Minotaur there in that whole army that looks like it's about to go down, and everything else is looking pretty chipper. You know what I need to see? I need to see Valkyrie Vithrilisk. If we see that, we'll be in good shape. JK, JK. Oh my god. Ooh! What a shellacking, honestly. Fall back, he says, as his forces are annihilated. Exfoliated. That's my favorite word now. The data will definitely help Toyota out. Again, they have time on the Eastern Front because what Raenarill and what SmrtyCakes have access to right now is not the most... Like, they don't have a very mobile army, right? It's a lot of Minotaurs. It's a lot of, you know, I guess Blackjacks as well, Harakans. Oh, Pazuzas are out. Those are pretty slippery, actually. Can definitely go on base raids. I'm a fan of those. Now, will they be able to get out when the diadems aren't shellacking them? We saw SmrtyCakes trying to be mobile with those diadems, but it doesn't quite look like it's enough. The Pazuzas end up going down, not able to get through this position that has been taken by our Eastern team. We got Magnetars joining the fray. That's always a good one. We got a couple Blackjacks doing a jig instead of stopping moving. We love to see that. So now we can see Omega Caps over here at 6 o'clock. Does he have the same thing happening at 12? No. So Toyota definitely has a lot of income. He needs to actually get it spending. When he hits tier 3, he can be a pretty big menace. I think you can probably say that about just about any Terran. Mantles have been coming up online. What are you going to make out of him, buddy? 4 Vithrilisks on the way, so maybe Noiturne recognizes. He thinks about it the same way I think about it. He knows that's what you do. Wellbores have come out. Raenarill, a big fan of the Wellbore. The only player I ever see making a Wellbore, but no, I tell a lie. SmrtyCakes has made one too. Good to see. And we got treasuries coming up over here. SmrtyCakes trying to take more bases himself. Strip mine everything. Put a diadem everywhere. Love to see it. Oh yeah, that one diadem. Oh, there's another one. Okay, so it looks like that'll be like the 5th diadem that's being made, maybe, if I'm counting it right anyway. Cataphracts on the way, nanite assemblies on the way for Toyota. So we are going to see some decent response here. I thought maybe that I was kind of worried that our Western team would just kind of run over the opposition with their heavy tech. But now they're kind of allowing the other team to catch up. And Noiturne can go for tier 3. He's had the gas for it for some time. And there it is. Tier 3 started. Well, in about... If this game goes on for another 2 or 3 minutes, we could definitely be in for a real showdown, a real proper burial for anyone who thinks that, you know, Cosmonarchy doesn't have enough units. How about now, homie? How about now? Talos is harvesting in the distance. Could be capping these ridges as well. That could be another thing. Some of these old maps will have ridges that are placed over unbuildable terrain, because back in the day, you didn't used to be able to cap ridges. That doesn't look like that's the case here. So actually, our players should be just fine in terms of their ability to go for it. We've got 170 workers for Toyota and about the same for Smarty. So they're leading the charge. And it's funny, the Raenarill and Noiturne have a similar worker count to each other as well. So there really are a couple of counterparts here, which is very interesting. All right, SmrtyCakes is trying to move forward with his blackjacks. I don't know if he's going to be quite successful. There's a ton of madrigals over here, by the way. This is the Gambit from Toyota. He doesn't really have much in the way of sustain or anything, and the Yamatos are coming out. Oh, he's only good for a couple of them, though, and then the madrigals start munching, and the Vithrilisks are live as well. This could be really big. That one Magnetar goes down as well. Yeah, it feels like maybe the Magnetars blew their Yamato a little bit too soon. Vithrilisks can't be fighting by themselves, though. They really need to synergize with the madrigals, rending the armor, making the madrigal shots going much better. Oh man, the Yamato is going to come out, but it will end up missing. Magnetar pulled them in for just a moment. We got Cataphracts out as well. It does look like Raenarill's ground army is slowly pushing through. The Protathlor is trying their best to help out. The Vithrilisks posturing. You can't give too close of a chase. If they give any salvos through, the Paladin splash damage, doing everything there. And the Diadem shot is more than enough to ward off Toyota's continued advance. We need more Phalanxes on the high ground. It looks like maybe a few of them will end up... No, that's narrowly out of range of that 1 HP Paladin. And the cat has come out, but I think it's a little bit too late in the middle here. So this position is toast. Yamato's galore. Somehow that Paladin is still alive. Raenarill's Air Force is descending upon 12 o'clock, so that's going to be a drain on the income of Toyota. He's got a big bank, though, and this base at 6 has not been discovered. What is Noiturne thinking for his tier 3? He's going for the Gathtalusks. I'm seeing him make a tier 2 node, but I don't see him making a tier 3 node. Okay, the Gezkath Grotto is coming up. That makes a bit more sense. He just wants the Alcagelists. Honestly, Gezkathalors are not bad, because I think they have similar range to the Paladin. They have like 1 more range than the Paladin, so it's pretty similar, but they don't have to remain rooted in position to shoot. So they're more of a launch and like a fire and forget type person. So I think that's pretty neat. The Ministries are actually staying alive a lot longer, courtesy of the Azazel Forecastle, which is really funny to me. Everything here just has a little bit more beef, a little bit more armor. So the Minotaurs take a much longer time to clear it. Can you Shaman? Asks Smarty. Well, he was making Akhmet, but he can use his single Vestry to produce Shaman. I think what he's looking for here... Oh, you can see him trying to clear the Azazel there. That makes sense. What I think we're seeing, like, Smarty look for is a way to heal his capital crafts. More on that in a future update, though. Wink. Yeah, I don't know, man. Right about now, it's looking a little bit dire for our Eastern team. What have they been prepping? We do have some Alcagelisks coming. Straight from the Oxal Cesians. The Chokral Chasel has been made as well. Zerg have Alkaj, question mark? He's not sure about it. Ooh, Toyota's Magnetar is getting shelled. Pazuzu's also helping out quite a bit there. They apply deconstruction to targets with a weapon, so that helps out quite a bit. This is a shellacking of the army with all that splash damage. But as the Zoryus get closer, I mean, they are pretty meaty. You're going to start dealing self-damage here. A couple of the Paladins might end up going down to all of it, but maybe not. They'll endure just narrowly, it looks like. No, never mind. One of them does end up going down. The Magnetar's trying to go for a flank. You see Talos is getting in close to repair. Problem is the Paladins deal splash damage. Here comes the Zoryus to try to obscure some of that. But this one Paladin just brought down a Magnetar. And you can see SmrtyCakes trying to split his army. He's got very wounded Minotaurs from that Madrigal fight earlier. The one Centaur, not going to be quite enough. Some Yamatos go down, pretty good. Clearing a couple of the Minotaurs. It's an air fight between Smarty and Toyota while Noiturne just tries to hold off the Paladins. Now they're going to come in here, saunter on, and start breaking down the sieves. You do have to watch out, though. Yeah, stuff like that can happen where the Magnetars try to make the pick. Where's the Yamatos? That's what I want to see. You can see one of them charging up over here. You know, a Minotaur for a Magnetar. It's a little bit more cost efficient for the player who lost the Minotaur in that situation. Oh my god. Oh, never mind. That Spraith is not targeting the wounded one. There you go. I got it. I don't know if Noiturne did that on purpose or if that's just some targeting oddity, but that was really good. So that base is going to go down. Not really a whole lot left here. We've got Gazithalors coming out so they can turn into Alcaedulists. They do not attack up, mind you. A lot of these Minotaurs, they're a lot more wounded than SmrtyCakes would feel comfortable with, but there's no splash damage over here. So that also helps out a little bit. The Alcaedulists are on the way. 4 more Paladins being made, but this time by Toyota. He wants to see if he can range down the air stacks with that. Magnetar falling back as the ground army comes on in. He needs to get a couple of Yamatos out to help Noiturne. Noiturne's going to get overwhelmed otherwise, and we got a fleet of Centaurs moving in for that splash damage to deal with the stacks. Oh boy, the Gazithalor's getting spawn camped right now. Yamatos were good on those Pazuzus, but there's so much more here from our Western team. And you know, I bet you at the score screen we're going to see the players here are basically going to be in a similar position to each other money-wise. Like, the teams are going to be in a similar position money-wise. This base never taken the whole game, by the way. That's so shocking to me. Paladins coming out trying to do their best here, but I think it's a little bit too late. Noiturne's got 22 workers and 4 combat units, and they're slowly being chipped away at. Blackjack's coming in at the end. They're going to tear down one of the iron foundries. And there's just air units in every corner, every crevice. There's no way you can hide from the fleet. Honestly, the Paladins earlier could have been a game changer because they have such good range and splash damage. They would have eventually brought down things like the Minotaurs. You know, they outranged them, right? You can see the dynamic here. A couple of them going down. Again, they're very wounded. And, you know, they take such little damage from the Minotaurs individually that it does take a while to actually break them down, but GG is called. Noiturne just doesn't have enough. He can't do anything from his position. Brought down to 7 minerals, 49 gas. He spent everything he could have possibly spent, but there's bases everywhere. There's things everywhere. I don't think Toyota's going to be able to make much happen here, man. Noiturne concedes. Toyota must be reeling. Like, goddamn, I got to tier 3 and everything, but my opponent got there faster. You know, it's really remarkable how even after the flub of not really using the map pressure that they had earlier, the Eastern team still had a lot of play in this situation. And, you know, it still took some tactical army fights to really make stuff happen in the mid stages. That Daedala might end up burning down here. Insult to injury. The Paladins arrive, but they're going to get shellacked by Blackjacks. I can't believe it. And there's so many Minotaurs, dude. They're everywhere. Oh, 3 of them going down at once. That's cinematic, man. A lot of resources were expended on clearing out this map of enemy dots, but the Western team has done it. They've pretty much cleared it once these last couple of units from Toyota end up falling. He's got a lot of Paladins. He might extend play for a little bit longer, but surely Raenarill and SmrtyCakes will be able to overwhelm him. I think they're only now realizing Toyota's fighting on to the bitter end. Because I think they maybe took their hands off keyboard kind of thing. Like, okay, well, one of the players said GG. And the other ones are still going. Yamatos galore. See a couple more go down. Cataphracts in number will eventually overwhelm the Minotaurs, but look, the Centaurs are coming. They get closer in range, courtesy of the Magnetars pulling them in, and then their missiles go live. Oh my god, the one Minotaur even sniping from that side. Incoming air force from the rest of them. The Paladins trying their best, bringing down so many Magnetars before they can recharge their Yamatos. Well, I hope you guys enjoy some Death Fleet air stack tactics from the Terrans. I think the Paladins had a huge outsized impact as well, and of course, I always love a good Pazuzu showing. But that's a wrap here. Toyota has been routed. He's been brought down to the bitter end. Yamatos galore going in favor of the Western team, and I do love to see it. I do love to see some good Tier 3 fights. A 30-minute 2v2. Of course, it was over like 5 minutes ago, but GG is called. Toyota, he's just sat there like, I can't believe my opponents won't call GG too. GG, he says again. Waiting. SmrtyCakes finally hits him with it. He's going to wait for Raenarill. Raenarill's too Canadian. He must say GG surely. Imagine sitting around just building. Oh my god. Well, he still got 6 o'clock, so I had most bases on the map taken. I can't tell if Toyota's just being funny. Me too. Stable 18 came in. GG. All right, well, that's a wrap there, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, again, if we take a look at the resources, like, SmrtyCakes is in the lead, but Toyota's not that far behind, right? And so, like, that just kind of shows you the parity there. I guess you could say that maybe Noiturne dropped the ball on the gas mine in particular, but I think he was reasonably competitive when it comes to, like, obviously he spent about as many resources as Raenarill, so it's not like he was so far behind on that particular front. But I just wanted to point out, you know, like the resources mined here, it wasn't that outsized in favor of the Western team. There's definitely a lot of value there that I think they had, and I don't know who Jeep Kwan is, but that's a cool name as well. Thanks everybody for tuning in and being the homies. I hope you enjoyed this cast. We'll be back tomorrow for more Cosmonarchy, so I'll see you then. Peace.